Pete was inside getting ready for bed when he saw his wife standing out in the yard, staring up at the full moon. He grabbed his phone and went out to join her, the two of them taking a moment to appreciate how nice the sky looked that night. Everything was calm until a strange siren-like noise echoed from somewhere far out in the fields. They both stopped and listened, trying to figure out what could make a sound like that.
You getting some fresh air?
Yeah. Look at the moon.
Oh, yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah, you kind of can come up.
It's gonna be like a full moon soon. What?
You sound pretty far off.
Yeah. It's been a couple quiet nights, though.
It comes again, long and warped, almost like an animal call, but stretched in a way that didn't sound natural at all. Some people online said it was probably just a fox, but Pete and his wife didn't look convinced. The tone, the pitch, the way it seemed to shift directions made it feel like something else was moving out there in the dark. They stayed outside for a minute longer, unsure whether to go back in or keep listening, and the whole thing left them wondering if they had just heard something they weren't supposed to. While they were still unsettled from the night before, Pete and his wife decided to clear their heads with a walk through the woods on a daytime date. The trail was quiet, just the sound of birds and wind moving through the trees, when suddenly, Pete froze mid-step. He held up a hand and whispered that he'd just heard something near him. His wife thought he was joking until the camera picked it up too.
This is our idea of a date night. I'm just walking through the woods.
You're very graceful.
I mean, I'm trying to record and walk at the same time. What?
You hear that?
No. Is that footsteps? Do you see anything?
Soft, steady footsteps crunch through the leaves a few yards back, but when they turn around, there's nothing on the path. No hikers, no animals, no movement at all. The sound continues for a few seconds, clear as day, almost like someone invisible was pacing just out of sight. There's no logical cause anywhere in the frame, and the two of them stand there silently, realizing that whatever they heard last night might not have stayed in the fields. In the direct second part of that clip, the atmosphere shifts fast as Pete and his wife stand frozen on the trail, still trying to figure out who or what those unseen footsteps belong to. That same unsettling siren-like sound they heard the night before echoes through the woods.
It's gonna be harder to move through and keep quiet with all the leaves on the ground now.
When it snows, it might be easier to walk around out here.
Yeah.
Can we go home?
It starts faint, deep between the trees, almost like a distant wail, then rises just enough to prove it's not the wind and not any animal they recognize. The moment the sound stretches out again, both of them whip their heads toward the direction it came from, but there's nothing but dense forest. You can feel the panic building in Pete's voice as he tells his wife they need to leave. The clip cuts off right as they turn and start moving quickly back down the path. According to Pete, once the camera stopped rolling, they didn't risk staying any longer. They jogged the entire way home, convinced that whatever had followed them from the night before was still out there, watching. In the continuation, Pete explains that despite how terrified they were, curiosity got the better of them. About an hour later, they went back out with the camera, wanting to make sure the sound wasn't just an animal, and to see if anything had actually been out there.
What the fuck is this?
Ash, come here.
What? What is it? Pete, look at this.
Follow them? What does that mean?
I don't know, but we should really get out of here. You're gonna cry.
As they walk deeper into the trees, they come across something that makes both of them stop immediately. On the forest floor is a strange arrangement of branches, not random, but laid out deliberately to surround a holy cross. They look around, confused, until they notice another set of branches a few feet away. This one isn't a symbol at all, it's words. The branches are aligned to spell out all of them, each letter formed with unsettling precision, like someone, or something, had been waiting for them to find it, before they can even process what it means. That same eerie, siren-like sound echoes through the woods again, louder this time and closer. Pete mutters under his breath, the camera shaking as the woman spins around trying to locate the source, but the forest around them is completely still. Then the siren drags out once again, sharper this time, and that's all they need to hear. They take off running, sprinting straight back toward home as fast as they can. According to Pete, they didn't stop once until they were inside with the doors locked. The woman, Ashley, later admitted that the fear hadn't left her at all, but curiosity was eating at her even worse than it did Pete. So that same night, without telling him, she decided to sneak back into the woods on her own with just her phone and a small flashlight. She said she wanted to know if the siren was real or if they'd scared themselves into imagining it. The moment she stepped under the trees, the forest felt colder, heavier, almost like it was aware she was there alone. As she walks deeper into the dark, the siren-like noise begins again, drifting through the woods in those stretched, unnatural tones. Ashley keeps the flashlight pointed straight ahead, her breathing shaky as she slowly pans from tree to tree. Then, somewhere far ahead, something moves. It's quick, just a flicker between trunks, almost like a human silhouette gliding sideways before disappearing again. Ashley stops in her tracks, whispering Pete's name even though he isn't with her, and the siren drags out again, louder this time, as if responding to her voice. The second she sees another flash of movement, like an orange light closer now, clearly not an animal, she spins around and runs. She doesn't look back once, sprinting through the dark forest with only her flashlight beam bouncing wildly in front of her. According to Ashley, she didn't slow down until she could see the lights of her house, and after that night, she swore she would never go into those woods alone again. Monica was at work completely alone that night, the only person scheduled in the building, when she suddenly started hearing a strange chiming sound echoing from somewhere down the hallway. At first, it was faint, almost like a toy winding up, and she assumed it must have been something mechanical resetting itself. But when it kept stopping and starting, moving from one direction to another, she grabbed her phone and began walking toward it to figure out where exactly it was coming from.
I'm at work. I'm the only person here. And I here. Oh my god, I'm fucking. The scary movie says you don't go see what's going on. But what the f? I'm gonna lose my goddamn shit. Okay, I'm gonna die.
She moves through several empty offices, each one quiet and untouched, the chiming fading then picking up again, as if something was leading her from room to room. Eventually, she reaches a specific doorway where the sound had been the strongest just moments earlier. She steps inside, and everything is perfectly normal. The shelves are untouched, the chairs are still, and the toy that supposedly made the noise is sitting on the table exactly where it should be. She even picks it up to show there's nothing wrong with it. Monica walks around the room and then checks the adjacent one too, since part of her job is to make sure the area stays secure. But there's nothing and no one there. The clip ends with her confused and unsettled, realizing she never actually found the cause of the chiming. Later, security footage was reviewed to rule out intruders, and it confirmed that nobody entered the property at any point during her shift, making the whole incident even harder to explain. A few days later, Monica was back at work alone again, and things had only escalated since the chiming incident. She explained that the lights had been flickering non-stop all morning, turning on and off in random rooms, even when she wasn't anywhere near the switches. That's when she finally pulled out her phone to start filming, hoping to prove she wasn't exaggerating.
Here we go again. I don't know what the hell. The lights keep going on and off. What the f- Oh. Okay. I have to go upstairs. I don't know. That sound was at the same time as the light went on. Okay, it could be an electrical thing. Doesn't have to be scary. I don't know what's happening. I'm not scared, but Okay, so I'm at my desk now and the lights went out. They were going on and off when I was downstairs. I was able to capture it one time. I'm not scared. I'm over it actually. I'm super irritated. I'm hearing shit. I hear whispering and humming. I'm about to go over there. Ugh. I'm not scared, but just super irritated. Okay. Oh, no. Oh, God. I'm not scared. Okay. How do I turn the camera around? Okay. I fumbled on the phone. I'm not scared. I heard humming. I'm gonna open that closet again. I'm not afraid. Nothing can hurt me. There it is. I don't know what the heck. I had the security guard leave the light on for me in this room. And
As she's walking down the corridor, a sudden loud thud echoes through the building at the exact same moment another light snaps on by itself. She jumps, whispering to the camera that she's heading back to her desk for safety, and steps into the lift. The moment the doors close, she looks shaken, constantly glancing around like she's expecting something to follow her. When she reaches her desk, she sits down and talks straight into the camera, clearly agitated as she describes what's been happening, whispering, humming, little noises coming from corners of the office where nobody should be. And the unsettling part is that throughout the video, you can hear it too. A whisper around 1 minute 41 seconds, another faint one at 2 minutes 40, soft enough to question, but clear enough to be intentional. She later says that her boss already knows what's happening, but claims there's nothing he can do. No intruders, no faulty wiring, just Monica and something in that building that keeps making its presence known whenever she's stuck there alone. In the following video, a kid is spending time with his father in the kitchen, happily putting pieces of fruit into a small plastic cup, while his dad films the moment. It's quiet and normal at first, just a wholesome little clip. Then the atmosphere shifts.
Ahora nos abrió la puerta y se presentó.
Bueno, con el limón. A ver, dile a la abuela. Limón. Dile, mandarina. Mandarina. Se cayó. ¿Qué? No. Hola. Mira, espera, Marcos. Otra vez, no, por favor. Rolo. No mames. Mierda. No mames. No, espera. Alguien se metió. Quédate ahí, Daniel. Alguien se metió. No mames. ¿Rolo?
¿Será el perro?
Tu casa, güey, no mames. No, esto no puede ser. No. Métete, papi, métete.
The overhead light suddenly flickers a few times, brightening and dimming like something is interfering with the power. Before either of them can react, the door beside them slowly opens by itself, creaking as it swings inward. The dad steps toward it, confused, but the moment he reaches the doorway, a dark figure can be seen standing upright through the window behind the door. It's just a split second, but its shape is unmistakable. He panics, backs up quickly, and shuts the door immediately, trying not to scare his son. They wait in total silence for a few long seconds before he finally gathers the courage to open the door again. This time he steps outside, filming the empty yard, showing that absolutely nothing is there. No person, no shadow, no movement anywhere. The dad then hurriedly ushers his kid back inside and ends the video. He said afterward that he locked the door the second the recording stopped, completely shaken by the idea that something had been standing that close to them. The following video took place in August of 2006. Phil Koch was visiting a house in Milwaukee, Wisconsin that was going through an exorcism and cleansing. He wasn't particularly into ghosts, but he was there to photograph and video the house before the ritual began. As the group was starting the cleansing in the basement, Phil was getting ready to leave and decided to take one last shot of the living room.
Oh, come on. Alright, that wasn't cool.
On camera, a door suddenly opened by itself, opening a crack, whilst it was evident nobody was nearby. After the event, Phil packed up and left immediately, spooked by what he had captured. Though he wasn't normally concerned with the paranormal, the clip left him uneasy, and he avoided returning to the house as the ritual continued. Working security can get kind of spooky. The guard, who hated the job and was only doing it because he was young, had always dreamed of becoming a filmmaker. But for now, this was just a paycheck. The community college he patrolled had a dark reputation with rumors and stories of multiple people having shot themselves in the parking lot. This dark past made the job even creepier.
Yo, did it again. Turn on my flashlight. Which one was Yo.
One night, the bathroom started making strange noises, flushing sounds, taps turning on and off, so he went into to check. As soon as he stepped inside the actual bathroom, all the sounds stopped. Nobody was there, and nothing seemed out of place. Despite being unsettled, he chose to keep the job rather than complain, chalking it up to faulty sensors and dark lore, while continuing to save for his true dream of filmmaking. Sean had always been skeptical about the strange noises coming from his attic door, and they had been haunting him from day one. His roommate Stephen insisted it was just the wind because Sean left his windows cracked for fresh air, but Sean wasn't so sure. Determined to catch what was happening on tape, he set up a camera on his jeans, aiming it at the attic entrance, turned off the lights, and went to bed.
Okay, everybody, we're in my closet, and I'm going to do the experiment of trying to get this on tape. My attic, it's right there. It always makes noise. It rattles all the time at night. I'm not sure if it's the suction of the wind in the attic or whatever it is, but I'm going to try to get this on film when I'm sleeping. So it is around 1 o'clock in the morning, so I'm going to place camera right up here on my jeans. So I'll try to get this on film. Alrighty. Good night, Facebook. Well, if I can place it up here. There we go.
Around 3 a.m., the camera picked up weird noises coming from the attic, almost like taps. By 4 a.m., the attic door was clattering aggressively, as if something was trying to get out, and an orb even flew past the camera. Sean was left shaken but fascinated, reviewing the footage repeatedly and now seriously considering getting expert help to figure out what was haunting his attic. Derek had been working the late shift at the bar for years, and while he'd heard his fair share of ghost stories from staff and customers, he never took them seriously. That night, the place was quiet, except for the faint hum of the refrigeration units and the occasional creak from the old wooden beams. He was alone, methodically cleaning glasses and wiping down tables, trying to finish up so he could lock up and head home. Without warning, a stool on the far side of the bar suddenly tipped over and crashed onto the floor with a loud thud. Derek froze, staring at the fallen chair for a few seconds before running away. Just as he was able to make his escape, another set of random objects fell to the ground, as if someone moved them, but there was evidently no visible force. The air outside felt heavier, almost charged, and Derek's chest tightened with unease. The bizarre activity lasted only moments, but it was enough to shake him. From that night on, Derek made sure to finish his work earlier or bring someone along, unwilling to risk being in the building alone after hours again. Josh had stopped at a small restaurant for a quick meal, and after finishing, headed into the bathroom. It was nothing unusual, just a quiet, dimly lit space with the faint sound of the kitchen muffled through the walls. After taking care of business, he washed his hands and was about to leave when a strange feeling crept over him, like someone else was in the room watching. Moments later, the tap on one of the sinks suddenly turned on by itself, the water running for a few seconds before shutting off. Curious and unnerved, Josh pulled out his phone and started filming, scanning the empty bathroom.
Jesus Christ.
For a while, nothing happened, just the low hum of the ventilation fan and the sound of movement from Josh himself. Then, without warning, the faucet burst to life again, splashing water into the sink before shutting off on its own. That was enough for Josh. He grabbed his things, pushed the door open, and left the bathroom as quickly as he could, deciding he'd rather wait until he got home than risk another encounter like that. This particular doll had a sinister reputation long before it ever ended up in a collector's hands. Said to be from the Second World War, it was once used by a ventriloquist who toured military bases to lift the spirits of soldiers. But according to old records, the performer died suddenly under mysterious circumstances mid-tour, and the doll was never used again. Over the years, it changed owners multiple times, each reporting strange experiences such as unsettling noises at night, whispers in empty rooms, even claims of the doll moving on its own. Eventually, the head was locked in a glass display box for safety, sealed tightly to prevent tampering. As the camera focuses on the display, the doll's eyes, which should be permanently fixed shut, suddenly open wide. At the same moment, the glass door creaks open by itself. Just seconds later, the doll's eyes slide closed again, and the door moves again. Collectors who've seen this footage insist it proves what they've believed all along, that whatever spirit is attached to this doll is still very much alive. Some even warn it should never be taken out of its case again. Ahmed had always been fascinated by the unknown, spending his free time exploring old buildings, cemeteries, and spiritual places just for the thrill of documenting anything unusual. On one of his late-night outings, he found himself inside an abandoned home where the atmosphere felt heavy, almost like the walls themselves were watching. That's when he stumbled upon an old wardrobe tucked into the corner of a bedroom. The air around it felt colder, and the uneasy sensation in his chest told him he needed to record.
¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué es eso? Hola. ¿Y la mosca que salió? Hola. Bien. Salió una mosca, miren. Ahí está la mosca. Miren, ahí anda, ahí anda, ahí anda. Aquí había alguien adentro, ¿eh? ¿Estás aquí adentro? ¿Estás aquí adentro? Miren. Hola. Uy, ahí anda la mosca adentro, miren. ¿Dónde estás? Ay, Dios. Ay, Dios.
As the camera locked onto the wardrobe, its doors began to rattle violently, as if something inside was fighting to get out. Then, with a sudden force, one of the doors swung open wide. Eventually, one of the doors slammed shut again, leaving him shaken and speechless. He later admitted that this was the first time he truly questioned whether his hobby had crossed into something dangerous. Still, rather than quit, Ahmed's passion for the paranormal only deepened, and he now believes this wardrobe encounter was a direct sign that the spirits had acknowledged his presence. It was a special night for a family gathered to celebrate their grandmother's 90th birthday. The table was filled with laughter, food, and of course, the glowing cake sitting right in front of her. As everyone gathered around to sing happy birthday, the old woman sat beaming with joy, soaking in the love of her family.
Sople, sople, todavía sopla. Sople. Sople la vela.
Apague la vela.
No, con la boca, con la boca.
But in the middle of the song, the atmosphere shifted. Just behind her chair, a shadow darted past, small and fast, almost like a child running across the room. The family didn't notice in the moment, too caught up in singing, but the footage later revealed what looked unmistakably like a ghostly figure slipping into the background. Some believe it was the spirit of a child joining the celebration, making the birthday far more chilling than anyone expected. Tasha was filming casually around her living room, showing her viewers the cozy space she'd recently purchased. The clip begins calmly, the camera panning across the room with warm lighting before she starts walking toward the door that separates the living room from the hallway.
See, and you think I'm crazy. The first time I'm here by myself, there's a picture on the floor, and it just...
She points out the picture that fell on the floor, and then, just as she's about to turn the camera away, the translucent glass door in front of her creaks open slightly on its own, holding there for a few seconds before slamming shut with force. The sound echoes through the room, startling her so badly that she gasps and immediately runs for her life. This is when the clip cuts off entirely. She later said she was completely alone in the house at the time and hadn't experienced anything like it before. Whatever caused that door to move had to have been something unseen, something powerful enough to make her run without looking back. In her follow-up video, Tasha responds to a comment that reads, "I feel like there's a hole in the wall. That's where it's coming from." Wanting to prove there was no hidden space or trick behind what happened, she took her camera to the kitchen and began showing every corner in detail. She moved the lens slowly across the walls, the counters, and the door frames, tapping at the drywall to show it was solid. There were no cracks, no holes, nothing even close to what some people suggested could be behind the strange movement of the door. She even opened a few cabinets to show that they didn't connect anywhere, and that the area behind the wall was just insulation and wood. After the video ended, she swore it happened again. The door slammed. But that's for you to decide whether you believe it or not. A few days after Tasha's eerie encounters, she finally decided to call in investigators to get some real answers. 2 men arrived at her home and spent several hours there, scanning each room with their equipment, asking questions, and trying to make contact with whatever was inside.
I would like to speak to us. Can you say hi? Hi. Hi.
Well, hi.
Hi.
So we're gonna go another room.
Bye.
Bye. Wow. Okay.
I'd like to knock books over. Can you say hi? Mommy. Mommy.
Are you trying to find your mommy?
Are you looking for mommy? Yes.
Yes. I am nowhere even near it, and it's going off like crazy.
Yeah, it's.
So,
I definitely feel something else. Whoa, look at the EMF.
Yeah.
In the hallway? In the hall.
Okay.
So that is where my dog gets scared.
Wait.
So
We're going to the hall. So here.
You wanted us to come to the hall. You want to say hi? What the heck?
Was that you?
Greg, is that you? As you could tell. Was that you, Greg?
As one of them asked the spirit to say something if it was present, a small, childlike voice could be heard from nowhere saying the word "mommy." The men froze for a moment before one asked gently, "Are you looking for your mommy?" And again, the same soft voice replied, "Yes." It was clear and distinct enough to be caught on their recorders. Following the faint responses, they slowly moved toward the hallway, where one of the investigators said he felt a sudden chill. Seconds later, a framed photo resting on a counter tipped forward and fell. That was enough for them. They confirmed the presence of a spirit and told Tasha they'd be back soon to perform a cleansing to help the lost voice finally move on. Subscribe because I'll include that in another video if they post it. The video starts mid-chaos, the camera shaky, as a man and woman both sound audibly distressed. The focus quickly lands on a closet door in front of them, as it's rattling violently, the door shaking aggressively, as if something is trapped inside trying to get out. The woman can be heard saying that the doors are brand new, installed only a week ago, making the whole thing even more unnerving.
Hon, what is that?
Oh
Okay,
my
God.
God.
Oh my God.
Okay,
Oh my
okay.
God. Oh my God.
I'm gonna go look.
These are the new closet doors, guys. The new closet doors that we just installed. Oh my God. Okay. Nothing. Nothing in the closet. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Be careful.
Okay, no.
Okay, so clearly installing these doors. As you guys can see, we're still dealing with whatever is in our bedroom closet. I don't know, but freaked right out. Look at the dog. She's like, what the hell?
The man slowly approaches, trying to calm both of them down as the shaking continues, then grips the door and pulls it wider. The moment he does, everything stops. The door swings wide to reveal nothing but neatly hung clothes and shelves, completely untouched. To be sure, he even steps to the other side and checks behind it, but there's still nothing there. The clip cuts shortly after, the atmosphere thick with fear and confusion, and I'm asking you guys what you think the couple should do next, so let me know in the comments. A mother and her daughter had taken their night vision camera out late one evening, hoping to film the quiet countryside near their home. What they caught instead has left them, and everyone who's seen it, deeply unsettled.
Okay. Don't move in there. No, there's a motorcycle. See?
I don't see nothing down there. Can't be the motorcycles, honey. There's nothing sparkling. You see what I'm saying?
What is that?
Tree.
No. You moved it, right? Right there. See it?
Uh-huh.
Look.
There's nobody there. Where? I can't see it.
Look. Isn't it those people?
Can't be.
There's nobody
Not up in the trees.
There's nobody down there no more. See?
As they scanned across a wide, open field, faint movement could be seen in the distance. The shapes weren't solid or human. They drifted across the grass like translucent figures made of mist, slow and deliberate, almost aware they were being watched. The mother and daughter were whispering between themselves, their voices trembling as they tried to focus the camera. The air was completely still, no fog, no wind, yet these forms moved as if they had purpose, gliding from one side of the field to the other before fading away completely. After the clip ends, she explains that the land once belonged to an old farmhouse that burned down decades ago, taking with it the family who lived there. Many now believe what they saw that night were the lingering spirits of those who never left the field. where their home once stood. Caitlin had been trying to fall asleep when the first noise startled her awake. It was the unmistakable sound of a door opening and slamming somewhere in her house. Groggy but tense, she grabbed her phone and started recording, determined to catch whatever was happening.
Oh my god.
As she walked downstairs, the noises continued, echoing through the hallway like heavy footsteps, or doors being forced shut over and over again. The occasional dragging sound echoed too. She called out softly, but no one answered. The moment she reached the bottom of the stairs, a loud thud echoed from deeper inside the house, startling her enough to sprint back upstairs to her room. Breathing heavily, she shut the door behind her and then jumped into bed, where she could get some level of comfort. The sounds seemed to follow, faint, slow, and deliberate, growing closer until they stopped just outside her room. Then, silence. The clip cuts there, leaving only the tension of what might come next. Caitlin has since admitted she's been trying to find ways to solve her problem, whether through spiritual cleansing or getting someone to investigate her house. But for now, she's just hoping the noises don't return. The next video picks up just a day after the last one, and Caitlin's horrors have far from stopped. She's in bed again, her phone recording from the covers, the only light coming from her bedside lamp. The sound of footsteps begins really loudly as slow, deliberate stomps echo up the staircase. Each one gets heavier, closer, until they stop right outside her door. There's a long pause, just the sound of her shaky breathing. Then the handle on her bedroom door starts to rattle violently, as if someone is trying to force their way in. The handle suddenly stops, and for a few seconds, everything is silent. Then, the door creaks open slowly on its own, revealing an empty hallway. Before she can even react, it slams shut again with a force that shakes the camera. The video cuts abruptly after that moment, and Caitlin later explains that she's been looking into how to sell the house altogether, saying she doesn't care what it takes, she just wants out before things get any worse. Jackson had been home alone for most of the evening when a series of rhythmic bangs started echoing from downstairs. At first, he ignored them, thinking it might just be the pipes or the wind outside. But the knocks were too deliberate and evenly spaced, and always coming from the same direction. He grabbed his phone and began recording as he made his way down the staircase, each step creaking beneath him while the knocking continued from the storage room at the back of the house. When he reached the door, the sound stopped. He hesitated for a moment, then slowly turned the handle and pushed it open. The room was still, and nothing looked out of place. Cautiously, he stepped inside, scanning every corner, just as he whispered to himself that it must have been nothing. A miscellaneous box shifted, sliding forward ever so slightly on its own. Jackson froze, breathing hard, before backing out of the room without saying a word. The clip ends there, leaving viewers convinced whatever's inside that storage room isn't done trying to make itself known. Mattie had been spending a quiet evening at home when she started to hear strange noises outside. At first, it sounded almost like a man mumbling, low and muffled, but she couldn't quite make out the words. Curiosity and a touch of fear got the better of her, so she grabbed a flashlight and her phone before stepping out the front door, shutting it firmly behind her.
Hearing the craziest noises. Listen. I gotta check this out. Ruby. Where the f did it go? What the Oh my God. Hello? Is anyone there? Oh my God. Holy shit. Thought I heard those noises again.
I heard them last night.
I didn't see anything, but I wanted to just look.
Probably just an animal or something.
Yeah. I keep seeing all those cats.
The camera picked up the sound of bushes rustling nearby, and Mattie moved quickly, scanning around them with her light, her voice shaky as she tried to call out. Just when she thought maybe it was nothing, she spun around while still recording, and in that pan across the yard, the lens caught something ducking back behind a tree. The figure moved fast enough that it could almost be dismissed, but its shape was far too uncanny to ignore. Afterwards, Mattie's boyfriend insisted that it was probably just an animal, an animal startled by the flashlight. Still, Mattie couldn't shake the feeling that what she saw wasn't any animal at all. Hugo and two of his friends had always laughed at the idea of ghosts, so when they heard about a supposedly haunted house nearby, they decided to go check it out for themselves. None of them expected much, other than just a night of fun, a little adrenaline, and maybe a good story to tell afterward. When they entered the building, they found it in shambles, with broken furniture, dust, and debris scattered everywhere. They explored room after room, joking and pointing out the eerie state of the place, still convinced nothing supernatural would come of it.
Café Brugada. Loco, pero porque yo tengo que ir al frente. Venga, culero. Loco, espérate. Loco, yo siento como que alguien los está viendo de adentro. Aquella. Yo. Dale, loco, vete al frente.
Y luego tú me siento como que ando en El Salvador, ¿no? Le digo algo, Hugo. Como yo soy el único que no está grabando. ¿Tú no estás grabando? Nosotros dos somos los que vamos a ver esto más rápido que usted. Me grafiten hecho ahí, qué vergüenza. Esta mierda. No, güey, aquí debe haber todo rato. Dale, loco, vamos. Ya. Con respeto, no conocemos así. Es que mira cómo está.
Güey, esta mierda se nos va a caer encima.
Dale, dale.
Ten cuidado, viejo. Tengan cuidado donde pisan, loco.
Para todos lados, ¿no? Y luego tú me siento como que ando en El Salvador, loco. Le digo algo, Hugo. Como yo soy el único que no está grabando. ¿Tú estás grabando? Nosotros dos somos los que vamos a ver esto más rápido que usted. Mira, grafiten hecho ahí, qué vergüenza. Esta mierda. No, güey, aquí debe haber todo rato. Dale, loco, vamos. ¿Qué pasó, loco? Este man, que vamos, bro.
Cuidado, man.
Ey, pero no lo va a caer este techo, güey.
No, también me lo va a caer encima. Bueno, ellos no quieren estar, mira cómo está todo eso así.
Sí, pues las tablas no creo, es un fierro lo que tiene.
But at the very end of their footage, a brief and chilling image appeared. A faint figure, resembling a ghostly woman, seemed to be standing inside the building with them. Her outline was visible enough to send shivers down viewers' spines, but the group themselves hadn't noticed it at the time. They left the house still laughing, unaware of how close they might have actually come to something paranormal. What they dismissed as a harmless adventure may have been far more real than they realized. HRJ Paranormal Adventures uploaded a video titled Part 2 of 3 Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, continuing their exploration of the infamous location. The team had already captured unsettling activity in the first part, and this segment only added more fuel to the fire.
So, do you know who was down the hall that was touching all the people?
As one of the women entered a room, she panned her camera slowly around to show viewers what it looked like inside. At first glance, nothing seemed out of the ordinary, just another empty space in a decaying hospital. But if you paid close enough attention, something chilling could be spotted. Behind the glass, faint but unmistakable, sat the figure of a woman in an office chair. Her presence lasted only for a moment, turning away before fading completely as the camera swept across her. The team didn't seem to notice at the time, but the replay made it impossible to ignore. Viewers flooded the comments with their own theories, convinced that this was one of the clearest captures the group had ever recorded. HRJ Paranormal Adventures confirmed that this investigation wasn't over yet, and that the story would continue in their future videos, so be sure to subscribe and watch my videos so you don't miss it. On Thursday, August 10th of 2015, a corner store security camera recorded something that has left both staff and viewers disturbed. At first, the footage seemed normal, showing empty aisles late at night, but then it became clear something strange was happening. A strange, oversized shadow-like blob began moving across the shelves, not in the shape of a person, but something far more unnatural. As it shifted along, items began to fall over without anyone touching them, including things such as produce rolling across the floor, random balls moving on their own, and smaller goods scattering down the aisle. The employees who reviewed the tape the next day were shaken, unsure how to even begin explaining what they had seen. The manager, visibly stressed, admitted he was less concerned about whether it was paranormal and more focused on the aftermath. With merchandise all over the floor and customers starting to whisper about the haunting, he's been trying to find a cleanser willing to deal with the spirit in order to help banish it. Who knows how that will go, though. A babysitter was going about what she thought would be a normal night's work when she stumbled onto something she'll never forget. The kids were asleep, the house was quiet, but as she walked through some of the rooms, she noticed something strange.
I'm babysitting and I just found the creepiest thing. Look at this. What is that? Oh my god. No, but what is it? It's so creepy. It's freaking me out. Is this real hair? Oh my god. And look. Ugh. Guys, I just came in to make dinner and look what I found. It's a boy this time. Oh my god. Why would you look at that? Why would anyone have this in their house? Honestly, it's the creepiest thing I've ever seen. Oh my god, it has another bell. Oh my god. Guys, guess who I am? The light started going insane. Let me show you. Okay, wait for it because it was literally just happening a second ago. Max? Better not be out of bed. Okay, I think I'm just gonna get him and go because it's really freaking me out.
There were two doll-like figures leaning face first against the wall in separate rooms, and what made it worse was that they both had real human hair attached to them. Unsettled but curious, she set up a camera facing a mirror, imitating one of the dolls to see if anything unusual would happen. What the footage showed shocked her massively. Reflected in the mirror, one of the dolls suddenly sprinted into another room despite being stationary in real life. After that, she began to notice their positions shifting around the house without her ever touching them. At that point, she decided enough was enough and made for the door. But before she could leave, every single light in the house suddenly turned off at once, plunging her into darkness. For the babysitter, what started as just another job became a nightmarish experience that still haunts her. The following footage wasn't filmed in a single night, but instead collected over the course of 2 months. It came from the security cameras of a man's home, where he had grown convinced something paranormal was going on. He wanted enough evidence to finally bring in professional help, so he kept his cameras rolling constantly, documenting everything he could. In week 1, the activity began with his pantry door swinging open and slamming shut by itself, followed almost immediately by the faint, unsettling sound of a child's toy playing music, even though no one was near it. Weeks passed with smaller disturbances, but by week 8, the activity escalated. A glass suddenly tipped and fell from the counter, shattering across the floor, while the chandelier overhead started to sway and rattle without any draft or reason. The final straw of that night came when a chair slowly dragged itself back from under the dining table, inch by inch, as though someone invisible was pulling it. Despite all of this, the man, whose name is JP, was told it still isn't enough hard evidence for most ghost hunters to intervene. They need more before they'll take on the case. So for now, JP continues to collect footage, hoping that the next clip will finally prove once and for all what he already knows is haunting his home. Two men were exploring what locals claimed to be a haunted facility, and the deeper they went, the heavier the atmosphere became. The silence was thick until suddenly, one of them stopped and pointed. He swore he had just heard a strange noise coming from behind the heavy curtains near the church area of the building.
More. Oh my god. These things are everywhere. It's cold as hell. No, I hear something. I heard something. Get out. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck this shit was. There's something. Don't move!
They cautiously approached, hearts pounding, and one of them mustered the courage to quickly yank the curtains back. Behind them wasn't anything menacing, but rather an old, dust-covered playroom filled with forgotten toys and faded furniture. They searched it quickly, trying to convince themselves there was nothing sinister about the noise. But just as they were about to leave, something happened that sent them both running. Across the room stood a small toy house, its roof painted pink, with its tiny door left open. Without warning, the door suddenly slammed shut with force, as if someone inside had pushed it closed. The two men didn't wait to see what would happen next. They bolted out of the room and out of the facility entirely, convinced they'd gotten too close to whatever haunted the place. C's Crazy Crossroads, the ghost hunter with nearly 50,000 subscribers who has appeared in past videos, had already been through several terrifying moments earlier that same day at the contractor's haunted house. He'd heard unexplained noises, seen objects move, and felt the kind of chill that tells you something isn't right. By the time of his next clip, you could tell he was still shaken, but determined to keep filming.
I'm glad you guys didn't see that, because it was definitely scary as hell, so. Oh, see, look at that fucking ladder move! I'm telling you, there's something in here. There's something in here. This place is so friggin' creepy, there's something in here. Holy shit! Guys, I don't understand this. Ah! Me!
This time, while searching another part of the house, he came across an old ladder leaning against the wall. At first, it was just part of the clutter, nothing unusual, but as his camera stayed fixed on it, the ladder began to tremble on its own, rattling hard enough that it could have toppled. He froze, audibly nervous, admitting how much it rattled him to see something that heavy moving without a person near it. After everything else that had already happened, this was the moment that pushed his fear through the roof. He said later that it was the closest he'd come to just leaving his gear behind and walking straight out, and viewers could see why. The activity wasn't slowing down at all, but instead, it was escalating. At around 9:30 in the morning, the hospital was calm and quiet, with not many patients in the facility yet. The CCTV camera overlooking the hallway recorded in silence until something subtle caught movement on the left side of the frame.
Isn't it amazing that it really boils down to whether or not, if a private equity firm, you can pick the name, offered Twitter $54.20 a week ago, we'd probably be talking about a done deal today.
Right, exactly. And again, that's what the politics are. You know, again, as you said, we were chatting earlier, Charles, and you pointed out that, you know, just after Trump got elected, the Twitter stock price went
$16 on inauguration day. The quarter that his last quarter as president, the earnings report came out in February. Stock went up 13% that day, 24% that week, went to in the mid-70s, and it's never been that high again.
There's nobody in the hallway and the door open.
It really was. He was great for Twitter. Twitter was great for him.
The door, which had been firmly shut just moments before, began to inch open by itself. It moved painfully slow, almost as if there was a ghost nudging it, before stopping at an odd angle halfway open, as if something unseen was standing behind it. No one was in that room at the time, and no drafts or vents could explain why it moved. The footage continues for another brief moment, with the door left open just enough to make the empty hallway feel wrong. It stayed that way until someone returned later that day to find it exactly as the camera had captured it, half open, with no sign of who or what moved it in the first place. Later that same week, more footage from the hospital began circulating online, and this time it was from a camera positioned inside one of the administrative offices. Everything in the room looked normal at first. A few staff members were moving around doing their usual tasks, chatting quietly, while one employee sat typing on a laptop at a desk.
Everything is correct. We are not. We're a private hospital, full-profit hospital with money.
Eric is the right man at the right time. I'm not sure about the rest of the medical establishment in the United States. So Bill Brandt is supporting Eric Adams.
Can you speak to medical records, and this is cause of reference too?
DA Alvin Bragg is going to live up to the challenge. Well, you know, it's funny, Eric.
One moment, okay?
Reduces crime because the American police officer delivered historic crime prior 20 years to this huge spike we saw.
Suddenly, without any form of warning, a supply cart at the far end of the corridor suddenly rolled forward on its own. It didn't glide gently, rather it moved with force, stopping right in the middle of the open space. Everyone froze. The woman at the desk immediately looked up, eyes wide, while another worker cautiously stepped back from where they stood. There was no one near the cart when it moved, no vibrations, and no sign of anyone pushing it. The camera caught every second clearly before the clip cut off. To this day, staff still don't know what caused it, but given what's already been caught on the hospital's other cameras, many are starting to believe something else might still be walking those halls. The following CCTV footage was captured inside an empty function room late at night. The room's lights were dim, and the motion sensors designed to track movement for the dance floor were highly active, as if somebody was dancing there, when in reality, there wasn't.
Oh my god! That shit me up. Oh my god. I'm so scared. That's crazy. Oh my god.
What is it?
It actually looks like it's walking, doesn't it?
For a while, the lights move around electrically, as if picking up minor changes in the air, until something strange happens. A soft, white mist begins to move across the opposite corner of the floor, gliding smoothly in a curved path, like a figure dancing alone. There's no breeze, no one else in the room, and the mist doesn't behave like smoke or dust. It seems to move with purpose before vanishing into the dark side of the hall. The woman who later reviewed the footage, Rachel, was the one who had booked the venue for a party that night. After watching the clip, she said it looked too human to ignore and cancelled her booking altogether. To this day, no one has been able to explain what the motion sensors actually picked up that night, and the venue has had to charge cheaper prices to make up for the lost business from scared customers. Another CCTV clip surfaced online, this one much more emotional rather than the usual frightening encounters that we have become so used to on this channel. It shows a woman named Casey sitting on the sofa with her 2 dogs, softly talking to them through tears. Her husband had passed away a year earlier, and she was reassuring her pets that he was still looking after them and that everything would be okay. The moment feels raw and quiet, filled with grief but also love. Then, in the middle of her words, the light in the corner ahead of her flickers twice.
Chris, please watch over Boston. Daddy's got you, okay? I'll make sure you're okay. I think he'll make sure I'm okay too. That. Really? Oh my god, I couldn't have timed that any better. I hope those cameras pick that up. That's insane. I feel better. Did you see that, Bubba?
Casey doesn't notice right away, still focused on comforting her dogs, but the timing feels impossible to ignore. Many who've seen the video believe it was a sign from her husband, and it was his way of letting her know he was still there, watching over her. The footage is brief but powerful, a small moment of light in an otherwise dark and lonely year. At 3 in the morning, a young girl quietly entered her parents' bedroom, not crying, but clearly frightened. She told them there was something in her ceiling, something that scared her enough to wake them up. Her mother tried to calm her down, saying it was probably just a fly or a bug moving around the light. Together, they went to her room to check, but everything looked normal. Nothing was there. After reassuring her, they all went back to sleep. The next morning, her parents decided to check the camera in her room in case they were wrong, and what they saw made their stomachs drop. Take a look. The footage shows the closet light flickering on and off several times, each time staying on for a few seconds before cutting out again. Their daughter can be seen sitting up in bed, staring at it as if sensing something was wrong. Then, a small white orb drifts across the camera, smooth and deliberate. It wasn't a glitch or a dying bulb. Both lights worked perfectly fine the next day. Whatever was in her room that night wasn't electrical. It was something else entirely. Some people online didn't believe the original clip, suggesting it was edited or that the flickering light had a simple explanation. But the girl's mother wasn't having it. In response, she posted a collage of other strange moments she'd caught on camera over the past few weeks in a means of providing proof that this wasn't a one-time event. The first part of the footage shows a glowing orb floating slowly across the screen, disappearing for a while before returning again later in the night, always around the same time, 3 in the morning. In one of the clearer moments, the orb drifts dangerously close to her daughter's bed before vanishing out of frame. The next clip in the collage shows the same room in complete darkness. Out of nowhere, a loud banging sound echoes through the house, sharp and sudden, even though nobody was awake. The mother said she's tried to ignore it, but the pattern, the timing, keeps repeating. After these recordings went viral, she admitted they've been looking for a new home, unwilling to risk another night of whatever still lingers in that room. A man and his friend decided to visit one of Gettysburg's most paranormally active spots, a location infamous for unexplainable sightings. They parked their car facing an old battlefield, the camera propped up on the dashboard as they sat in silence, waiting. The air was still, the only sound being the faint rustle of leaves outside. Gettysburg is known for its tragic history, with thousands of soldiers losing their lives there, and locals have long claimed that the spirits of those troops still linger across the fields. After nearly 25 minutes of nothing, something finally appeared.
All right, we're here in Gettysburg, just before the 150th. Where should I stop?
Just pull off here.
Want to try to film something here?
Yeah.
They said there's activity here before, but... Alright, so we're going to sit here for a while and just kind of film the camera.
A lot of troops left from here.
See what happens. I was told by a ranger. Was it about in this area here, Jay, that the ranger said that there's been some activities? They heard some rumors about seeing some sightings of something that they can't explain.
There's a lot of troops that left over here, so the activity should be strong.
All right, we'll record for like maybe half an hour or so, and then we'll move over to Devil's Den maybe after that.
Yeah, that'll be a good spot next.
And then we'll probably Pickett's Charge.
Yeah, maybe we can pick up something from there.
Pickett's hard though, because I can't really, unless we have flashlights. I guess I can shine it from the parking All right, that's all right. We'll videotape here for a while.
Okay.
Hey, let's be quiet though, okay? Holy crap! Down by the canyon, you see that?
Oh, what is that?
Wait, shh. Oh my God. Is it?
No way. What is that?
I have no friggin' idea.
Did you get that on the camera?
It's recording.
Oh my gosh! Did you see that?
Did you honestly?
I wouldn't believe it unless we recorded it.
Just beyond an old cannon, a human-like figure emerged, faint but fully formed. It moved slowly, walking a few steps toward the car, before fading into thin air right before their eyes. The two sat frozen, whispering in disbelief, their camera still rolling. The figure's transparent appearance matched countless other reports of ghostly soldiers seen in that very same area. It wasn't just a shadow or a trick of the light. This was something much harder to explain, and for them, undeniable proof that the legends of Gettysburg might be real after all. In the following video, Ian the Midwest Ghost Hunter, who has been featured on this channel countless times, continues his investigation inside the same haunted factory from his last exploration. The air is thick with dust, and his flashlight beam cuts through the darkness as he snaps photos around the room. He's calm but focused, asking whatever presence might be there to make a sound or show itself.
They seem like they didn't like that. Why don't you make that noise again? You could do something louder than that, can't you? Make another one of those sounds. Okay. What the hell? I just felt a rush of cold air right next to me. Was that you? Oh. Okay. He's making a lot of noise in here. Jesus. I can sense a presence. Whoa, what the hell was that? Dude, something just appeared in there.
Suddenly, he stops mid-sentence. A rush of cold air sweeps past him, strong enough to make the camera shake slightly. He turns, scanning the area, visibly unsettled as an unexplainable noise echoes through the room. Not wind, but something else entirely. Determined to catch evidence, Ian raises his camera again and keeps taking pictures. Immediately, he captures one image in particular that stands out. A dark shadow figure peeking from behind a corner, its shape too defined to be a trick of the light. Whatever was following him in that room was no longer hiding. This is only the start of Ian's documentation of the haunted factory, so subscribe if you want to see what happens next. The footage begins in an ordinary kitchen, the camera seemingly set up to record something else entirely. For a few seconds, everything looks normal, counters clean, appliances still, the quiet hum of a regular home. Then something shocking happened. In the background near the doorway, a strange shadow-like figure darts past in a flash, moving so fast it barely registers before it's gone. Almost immediately afterward, the kitchen bin begins to shake violently on its own, rocking back and forth insanely fast, as if someone invisible is trying to obliterate it. Within seconds, it collapses onto the floor, spilling its contents across the tiles. The woman in the home hesitates before stepping forward, her mannerisms showing evident confusion. She walks toward the bin and glances and moves her head around but finds nothing there. The clip ends with her still there in disbelief, clearly unsettled by what she just witnessed and calling for help from her husband. The following video opens with a man clearly unnerved, holding his phone up as his dog stays behind him from fear. He explains he's been hearing knocking for a while now, but every time he checks, there hasn't been anyone there.
There's nothing. See what I mean? Stay in here, buddy. I'll put them things in that damn cabinet. What the is that? Yeah, I gotta get rid of these damn things. There's somebody that's gonna take one of them. I don't know which one, but...
The knocking begins again, louder and more aggressive this time, echoing through the house as the dog stays much calmer this time around. The man steadies himself, walks over, and swings it open only to reveal an empty back garden with no sign of any other organism being present outside. Determined to catch whatever is happening, he steps out to scan his garden, leaving the dog inside. From outside, he can still hear the dog barking frantically, its eyes fixed on something unseen beyond the doorway. He pans his phone across the garden and shows there's nobody there at all, not even a passerby. Eventually, he blocks the cabinet nearest the door with a heavy box, as it's the only thing he can think of that might be making noise on its own. The video ends there, leaving viewers with the eerie sense that whatever is knocking isn't something that can be found just by opening the door. As a follow-up, the man posted another clip where he shows footage from his Blink camera, which he had set up to finally get some proof of what was going on while he was away from the house. The recording starts out normal, aimed looking at a weird collection of dolls in the house that might link to the haunting. However, nothing on this channel ends with normality.
What's that? Bro. The whole camera just flew off the shelf. What? Okay.
Without warning, the camera itself shakes slightly, tilts, and then falls from the shelf with a thud. The view spins briefly as it hits the ground, showing only a blur of the floor and furniture. Nobody is seen anywhere in the frame, no shadows or movement, just the unexplained fall. A few seconds later, the man appears on screen, picking the device up and checking it. You can hear him speaking and voicing his opinion, audibly confused and frustrated, saying it makes no sense how the camera could have been knocked down when nothing was near it. The footage ends there, leaving viewers unsettled because even his equipment, meant to capture the activity, seems to be affected by whatever is in his home. Later that same night, fresh footage from the hallway camera captured something even stranger. The man's dog strolls calmly past the frame, its nose detecting something mysterious in the quiet house. Just as it begins to exit the frame, a chilling growl rumbles through the microphone that is low, distorted, and undeniably unnatural. The sound doesn't match the dog at all, and the timing makes it even more unsettling, as though something unseen had been waiting for the moment the animal passed by. The dog doesn't return, and the camera records only silence after that single disturbing noise. When the man reviewed the footage, he admitted he had no explanation for it, and said this would be his last attempt at filming. Between the knocking, the camera falling, and now the growl, he was convinced his home was dealing with something far darker than he first thought. He now needs to find out what to do next, and I wish him luck. Chell had just gotten home from a long shift, looking forward to nothing more than a quiet evening. Instead, he walked into a scene straight out of a horror movie, and who knows what the motivation of the poltergeist was.
So I get off work and this is what I come home to. Which would be cool. But I'm alone and there's nobody here. So maybe did you run the bath? Or are you gonna take an what the Did you?
The bathroom door was open, steam curling out into the hallway, and inside the tub was already filled with bubbling water. 3 candles had been neatly arranged and lit next to it, their flames flickering in the dim light. The strange part was that nobody else was home other than his dog, who was the only other living thing in the house. Half joking, half nervous, Chell turned to his dog and sarcastically asked if it had run the bath for him. Just as he looked back into the bathroom, the tap turned itself back on, water rushing in once again, and the 3 candles he'd just seen flicker out suddenly relit on their own. Before he could process what he was seeing, the door to the room his dog was in slammed shut hard enough to make him jump. The camera shakes as Chell backs away, caught between disbelief and rising panic. He is currently looking into hiring a ghost hunter to potentially solve the problem. Leandro had been getting ready to head to the bathroom when something strange stopped him in his tracks. All he wanted to do was let out his urine, but little did he know that he couldn't even do that without facing something haunted.
Estaba por salir del baño y escuché, claro, una nena feliz. Se acaba de moverme. No sé si lo capté. ¿Y qué es, hijo de puta? Se escuchó un ruido. Se escuchó un paso, no sé qué se escuchó. Deja de usar el oso. ¿Quién carajo sos? ¿Dónde estás? Toda la vida vas a estar así molestándome. Hijo de puta. Quiero que vean que acá no hay nada. Acá no hay nadie. Miren. Fíjense que no hay nada raro. Miren que acá no hay espacio para... Miren. No hay espacio para nada acá. Está pegado el ras.
From one of the rooms down the hall came the sound of a girl's voice. Not a cry, not a whisper, but a happy, playful tone that was impossible to mistake. The problem was, he was completely home alone. Curious but unnerved, he walked toward the room the sound had come from, his phone recording. As soon as he stepped inside, his eyes landed on a teddy bear sitting on the bed. To his shock, it moved. Not a fall or a slip, but it shifted, almost like something was nudging it. The teddy moved again, slowly this time, as if answering him. Lanro asked aloud who the spirit was and where it was, but nothing replied. Determined to prove it wasn't some trick, he pulled the teddy away from the bed, showing the camera it wasn't wired or attached to anything. He even panned down to show there was no room or space behind the bed where someone could hide. The footage ends with him breathing hard, still holding the bear, and you should comment what he should do next. The following video involves Alexis, who had been dealing with strange knocks at his front door for several nights, each time leaving him more unsettled. This time, determined to catch whatever was behind it, he pulled out his phone and began filming. The loud knocking echoed through the hallway as he slowly unlocked the front door and pulled it open, revealing nothing on the other side. Stepping out cautiously, he scanned the driveway, which to his surprise was completely empty, silent, and still. The video cuts there, but what makes this incident chilling is what came after. At the very same moment Alexis had been filming outside, his wife had taken a picture from inside the house, aiming toward the door. In her photo, a frighteningly clear image of a woman can be seen standing right where Alexis had been seconds earlier. The strangest part is how he couldn't see her in real life, even though she was visible through the window in his wife's shot. Viewers argued this was proof of a ghostly presence, one that could only be captured on camera, but not seen with the naked eye. The Dark, an Arabic ghost hunter, known for walking straight into the heart of cursed places, has been featured here before, and this is the next chapter of his chilling explorations. His work has gained him a reputation for bravery, as he is always venturing alone, armed with nothing more than a flashlight, a camera, and his faith.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. حصنت نفسي بلا إله إلا الله. بسم الله. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. أنا ما قلت لكم عن المكان يا جماعة. الجهة الثانية هناك المصنع، ما أدري المخبز، ما أدري شو اسمه، فاهمين قصدي؟ أنا لما جيت العصر قلت لكم إن في مباني، وهذه المباني اللي هي فيه. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. بسم الله. الأخبار يا جماعة. قلت لكم هذا نفس اللي في المصنع. بسم الله. لا إله إلا الله. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والله ما بحدث، وقسما بالله ما بحدثها. الوي. بسم الله. طاح مرة ثانية. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من الخبث والخبائث. في حد؟ بسم الله. بسم الله. لا إله إلا الله. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. حصنت نفسي بلا إله إلا الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. يا جماعة أنا أسمع أصوات، ما أدري أنتم تسمعوها ولا لا. يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض وهو السميع العليم. حصنت نفسي بلا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله. بسم الله، بسم الله، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. توكلت على الله. لا، الحدث زايد يا جماعة. بسم الله، والله العظيم إني انخرجت. طار إن في حد يا جماعة، في حد هني. بسم الله، لا إله إلا الله، أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله.
In this video, he makes his way through a long, dust-coated hallway where old cabinets sit half open and random junk covers the floor, giving the building an abandoned, suffocating feel. His flashlight cuts through the darkness as he scans both sides, never daring to get too close to anything but keeping his focus sharp. The silence is broken when, without warning, something down the corridor suddenly topples over. It wasn't close enough for him to have touched, and nothing else appeared to move alongside it. Startled, the dark begins muttering religious phrases under his breath for protection as he steadies the camera and approaches the fallen chair. Yet when he reaches it, the hallway is empty. No person or force in sight that could have made it fall, not even in the adjacent room. The unsettling clip stops there, but he has promised more from this same location. Subscribe so you don't miss the continuation of this terrifying story. A man was relaxing in bed watching TV, the room dimly lit and calm as he ironically filmed the film on the television. He'd been feeling uneasy for days, claiming small things in his room would be moved when he wasn't looking. Wanting to capture anything strange, he began filming.
Loco, estaba durmiendo, me acaba de levantar, loco, estoy cagado las patas. Fuera de joda me puse en alabanza, amigo. Estaba durmiendo y de ahí arriba. Mirá, boludo. No lo puedo creer. Necesito, boludo.
As he pans the camera toward his wardrobe, a box perched high up suddenly slides forward, pushing a can from the very top. The can bounces off the edge, and after bouncing somehow, landing upright on the floor, in full view of the camera, the man audibly gasps, his breathing sharp as he realizes what just happened. The clip cuts with him still holding the phone toward the wardrobe, the camera shaking slightly, as though he didn't know whether to get up or stay put. People online said the way the can landed upright added an extra layer of unease, making it feel impossible for the moment to be a coincidence. The following clip opens with bad quality footage under warm, dim lighting, giving everything a slightly grainy and uneasy look. The person behind the camera is slowly panning around the entrance of their house, trying to capture the full view as if they were documenting something already unsettling. If you pay close attention, just by the door frame, a pair of faint, ghostly legs can be seen walking past. They were transparent and slow, as though whoever it was wasn't fully there. The figure vanishes just as the camera tilts slightly, making it hard to catch, unless you pause at the right moment. Fortunately, the person behind the camera noticed, and the family is currently arguing whether it was a trick of the light or genuine proof of a spirit lingering in the home. Either way, the combination of the bad camera quality and the warm lighting made the moment feel even more surreal and haunting. Who knows what will happen next for the family? Sierra had just bought a new home, one with a reputation for being haunted, and decided to film a vlog about fixing it up. Alone that day, she climbed a ladder to start some small renovations, her back to the camera.
How did you... How did you get out there? Okay, let's try this again.
A few moments later.
There's no way that this is a thing. I don't think you understand. There is zero way that she could unlock that, open it, shut it, and lock it. How are you doing this?
Midway through her work, she suddenly heard the sound of something sliding across the floor, followed by what unmistakably sounded like a door shutting. Confused, she grabbed her camera and walked toward the noise, finding her dog waiting anxiously outside the door. She let him back in, but his behavior was off, and he seemed tense and unsettled, staring at the door as if something was still on the other side. Trying to shrug it off, Sierra set the camera back up and climbed back onto the ladder to continue filming. Moments later, the same sequence of noises happened again. The strange part was how the door had clearly opened, shut, and locked, without her or her dog near it. And with her dog being so small, there was no chance he could have done it. Whatever was happening seemed to be tied to the house itself, leaving Sierra visibly shaken as she tried to keep filming for proof. With the unsettling incidents piling up, Sierra decided to set up additional cameras around the house to see if she could capture anything else happening when she wasn't holding the phone. In one of the new clips, her sister and fiancé were in the nursery they were preparing for their upcoming baby, decorating the room and chatting quietly.
Oh, where did you jump at?
On the paper.
Oh my god.
A few moments later.
Out of nowhere, the nursery door slammed shut hard enough to rattle the walls. Both of them froze, staring at the door, before her sister cautiously opened it again and stepped out into the hallway to look for any possible cause. There was no draft, no loose hinges, no one else in the house. Trying to shake it off, they went back to work. But shortly after, while her sister was stepping into another room to grab something, the nursery door slammed again with the same force, startling them all over again. By this point, even Sierra's family was beginning to believe something was wrong with the house. She later explained on social media that everyone had agreed to stop working in the rooms alone, and the nursery remained unfinished. They were already discussing whether to bring in a professional investigator or even abandon the renovation plans altogether. A shaky video begins with a man sounding clearly frightened as he walks slowly toward his sitting room, breathing abnormally heavily while recording. The camera pans across the hallway before reaching the doorway, where the floor is littered with torn-up paper as though someone had scattered it everywhere.
Sí.
Once inside the sitting room, he films around nervously, the dull Christmas tree in the corner, adding an eerie contrast to the mess on the floor. Tiny orbs drift across the frame, faint but visible against the warm lights, making the atmosphere feel even heavier. As he sweeps the camera around, a faint female voice can be heard somewhere behind him. He spins around instantly, but there's nobody there, only silence and the sound of his breathing. He is desperate to escape, and the video ends as he walks out of the room, still filming ahead of him. He later posted the clip online, asking viewers if they could figure out what the paper might have been or why it was all over the floor. A mother received a ring notification at 10 p.m. and, thinking it might be her husband outside, opened the app to check the live footage. Instead of easing her mind, though, what she saw made it impossible to sleep. At first, everything looked normal. Their driveway lit faintly, her husband's Porsche parked near the sliding door. But then she noticed something impossible, the faint image of a little girl in a dress standing perfectly still just behind the glass. The girl's outline was clear, not a reflection or a trick of the light, and she wasn't moving or reacting at all. For several seconds, the figure remained, frozen in place like it was watching. Then, without warning, the girl's shape slowly faded and seemed to dissolve back into the shadows, leaving only the darkness. The mother later said she replayed the footage dozens of times and still couldn't explain what she'd seen, and she's now convinced something unnatural is around her home. The mother decided to film an update in response to all the comments she'd received about the ring footage. In her video, she stood exactly where she had been that night, next to the sliding door, and panned her phone to show the area outside.
Okay, so this is the area, the door that it was like standing inside. We don't have anything or keep anything in this area because it's a walkway and it would be really awkward. And then this is where the security camera is. So when I looked at the footage, I expected to see a person. I didn't expect to see that though.
She explained that nothing is usually kept near the door. No statues, no decorations, no children's toys, nothing that could have caused the shape people were seeing. She then showed the camera itself, still mounted in the same position it had been during the original recording, to prove she hadn't moved it or staged anything. To make her point even clearer, she recreated the moment on camera, standing where the figure would have been, to show the height and angle were completely wrong for any reflection. Watching her run through the explanation only made the footage seem more chilling, because there really didn't seem to be a normal way to explain what had been captured that night. The Dark, an Arabic ghost hunter who gets paid to investigate haunted places, has been covered here before. But for you new viewers, he's known for boldly walking into some of the most terrifying facilities with nothing but a flashlight and a camera. In one of his more recent explorations, he was moving steadily through a crumbling building, his light sweeping across the eerie halls.
يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات. لا إله إلا الله. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. حصنت نفسي بلا إله إلا الله. بسم الله. لا إله إلا الله. بسم الله. بسم الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
His tone was confident at first, but things took a turn when he suddenly stepped on something that crunched loudly beneath his feet, breaking the silence. Almost immediately after, a deep sliding sound echoed through the building. He spun around to see a massive storage unit slowly dragging itself across the floor. Whispering religious phrases under his breath, he steadied the camera and walked toward it. But just as he did, another unit on the opposite side began sliding in the other direction, followed by yet another further down. The sheer force of whatever was moving them was undeniable. What shocked many was his bravery. Rather than running, he pushed forward into the darkness, determined to document every second. For the continuation of this story, make sure you subscribe to me, because it only gets more intense from here.